looking at me. I'm looking back.
Hi all, how are you? Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Welcome back to our channel.
Today we're making one of our all-time favorite desserts, orange caramel custard, also known as orange flan. This is one of Mom's all-time favorite recipes and one of the only desserts she will actually eat. She has been developing this dessert for years and she has come up with this perfect recipe that we all know and love today.
So this recipe is very buttery and soft, and it does not utilize a lot of sugar because of course caramel means like you have a sugar caramel on top. So I use very little sugar within the recipe, but other than that it has the caramel on top. Yes, it is a very favorite recipe of all my kids and their friends, and I have made it hundreds of times. And it also, I would like to mention, it does not take a lot of ingredients to make this recipe. So it's something that you would have lying around in your house and you can make this recipe.
Though it is kind of a long process, we get ready to spend a few hours with all the resting and the boiling.
So it's the actual process does not take very long, but the steeping and sitting and cooling, all of that takes a long time. But other than that, it's a very simple recipe to make.
Also, I want to mention this does contain milk and eggs. So if you don't like that or don't like eating that, you can just click off the video. And without further ado, let's get on to the video.
So what are the ingredients and appliances that we require for this flan recipe?
So you will need milk, and Captain Milk works. You will need brown sugar, eggs, and normal sugar.
You're also going to need oranges and orange extract.
You're also going to need a zester. Please have an adult use this for you if you're a child. This can hurt your hand really bad, so please be very careful with this. You will also need some kind of a grinder. You will need a pot. You will need something to measure the ingredients. You will need a ramekin, and you will also need a baking sheet, a big one.
And hot water, not shown here because we want to keep it on the kettle.
So let's get on making our video, and let's start with the first step. Okay, so I always keep the zester cover on the zester because I don't want anyone to accidentally even hurt themselves. So what you're going to do is take these oranges and zest them. Don't go too deep because you don't want any bitter taste in your, oh my god, this smells so nice, in your flan. So just zest it very gently, and after I've zested all these oranges, I'll just be back. So once you've zested the oranges, this is how they're going to look, like balled oranges.
Lemons.
This is what I've got out of 5 oranges. This is about 4 packed tablespoons of orange zest. If you wanted to make a lemon flan, you can use lemon zest. I'm making orange, so I'm using orange zest. The next step will be done by Jan. So tell us what we're going to do.
So we're basically going to mix this orange zest with some sugar and basically making orange sugar. So I'm going to put in about 4 teaspoons.
No, let's put 3.
3 teaspoons of sugar and nice packed teaspoons. And while I do this, I'm done. So Mom's now just going to put in all the zest.
Now you cannot use orange juice in this because it will split the milk. So you only have to use the zest. So be mindful that if you think that, oh, let me get a much more heavier flavor and I can do it with orange juice. If you use orange juice, it will split the milk.
Okay, now this may be a little bit loud. So that.
Let's check.
As you can see, it kind of splattered on the lid, but...
So this is how it's going to look when you mix the sugar and the orange zest, because of course the orange zest is giving off its oil, so it makes the mixture a little bit wet. And now we will come back and show you the next step.
For this next step, we're going to be making the egg mixture. So first, you're going to need to add 8 just yolks. I have 7 yolks here from an earlier project I did earlier this weekend. So we have to add 1 more to that. Just going to put that in the sink to rinse later. So, like we know, First, here's my tip. You gotta crack it into the bowl and throw away the eggshell. And then separate the egg from the bowl. That way there's no chance of it breaking. Just like that. And we can put this yolks, or the whites aside for a later project. I always rinse my hands in between. Okay, so now we have our 8 yolks. We need 6 whole eggs. So let's start. There is number 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You guys can either just do a double-handed egg crack like I was doing earlier, or a single-handed egg crack. Now we're just gonna beat these all together. Just like you're making an omelet, but with lots and lots of extra yolks. Make sure to go spear through each yolks so they fully get incorporated in. Just spear them through all of them first, and now we're just gonna mix them. We'll be back once this is done.
Okay, now we're going to warm the milk. This is 1000 ml of milk. Here, Jan, pour it in slowly so that we don't splash it.
And also our orange zest and sugar concoction from earlier. So I'm just going to scoop that in.
I think we did all of that for you.
Thank you.
Turn the gas on 3.
We're just going to turn it on to high so it heats up pretty fast.
So you want to mix this well and make sure that the sugar is dissolved in this. And once the milk is warm, it literally does not have to boil. It just has to become warm. You leave it for an hour for it to steep, and so that the milk takes in all the orange flavor from the orange zest. So the milk has become warm. As you can see, it's not boiled, it's just warm. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put a plate on top and leave it to steep for an hour. We'll see you in an hour's time.
It's been resting for an hour, so I'm just going to give it a quick stir. I'm going to give our egg mixture a quick stir, and it's time to combine them. Slowly add. I'm just going to add half of it at first and stir that in. This is a baking trick we usually end up using so it incorporates fully without having any problems. And then again, pour the other half in. Put it off to the side and stir it really well till it is all the way combined. We'll be right back once this is done. It is all incorporated. Now, this is what it should look like, all incorporated. Let's go turn on the oven. 150?
To 320.
320?
Yes.
Okay, so we're turning it on now on bake for 320. And just start it and let it preheat. Now let's go to Mom making the caramel.
So I'm going to get 2 cups of sugar. This is where the entire sugar for this dish comes into play. Because you don't have a lot of sugar in the dish per se. So this is where the sugar comes. You add some water to it. So what I did was I just used this brown sugar. It's called cane sugar, dark brown sugar. And why I'm using this is because it's faster to make caramel with this. And you add about half a cup of water to it. And this is the time you do not leave it alone even for a minute. You have to make sure once this is done that the sugar is completely dissolved in the water, and this quickly takes on a very dark hue very fast because it's already dark brown. And as you can see, it's starting to dissolve very, very fast. And I keep on swirling it to make sure that the sugar dissolves. And once the sugar dissolves, you put it in the ramekins immediately. Otherwise, this sugar will set in your bowl itself. So you want to do it really, really fast and swirl the sugar around or the caramel around in your ramekins. You want to make sure that all the crystals are dissolved in this. Shh. Bring it closer. As you can see, the caramel is almost done. It's starting to almost, there are no granules left in this. And we can pretty much start pouring it in the cups. And while I'm pouring it, Isha and Ria and Jan are going to swirl it around a little bit. Now I have not got it very thick because I don't want a whole lot of sugar per cup. And after that is done, we're going to let it sit for some time.
You gotta do this real fast so it doesn't all deposit at the bottom.
Now while our caramel is setting, we are going to do the next step, which is straining this mixture. Now you can do without straining it, but I like the custard to be smooth and beautiful and creamy, so I don't like to get any egg bits in there. So I like to strain it. If you see in the strainer, you will see the egg bits in there which did not mix, and this is what you don't want to have in your caramel custard. I'm straining the rest in this bowl because that measuring cup has filled up. To intensify our orange flavor, we're going to add a few drops of orange essence in this. This is this one. It's pure orange extract, and I'm adding it in both. And it's not a whole lot, it's just a little bit, but it's kind of more than enough to intensify the orange flavor. And we'll mix it in. See, it makes a very smooth custard. And that's what you want. You don't want any bits and bobs in your custard. So now this is done. Our next step is pouring this into the ramekins. So I'm going to go ahead and start pouring. Now you don't want to fill it up all the way. So I'm just pouring this through. Make sure that you don't fill it up because these do rise and then of course they fall back on themselves. But at the same time, you just want to fill them up about 3/4. I'm going to get the rest. Just one more. So now we are done, and Dan will show you how we make the covers for this. Because when you put it in the water bath in the oven, you don't want direct water droplets going into the pudding.
So I'm going to show you how to make the covers, because as Mom said, we don't want them to get direct water in the water bath. And I've actually made some examples right here. This is what they're supposed to look like. And I'm going to show you just how to make this little easy square. So I already have an aluminum foil. As you can see, we have some. And you fold it in half where the crease is. So that should be like a perfect fold. Do as best as you can. And press down and smooth it. So it should look flat, like this. Flat. And then you're going to fold it in half like this. So it will be into fourths. And remember, you have to rub it down flat. Make sure it is flat, like that. And now unfold it and press it on the table. Make a small cut where the middle fold is. And use your hands and just gently just slit it in half. Perfect. So this should make two different things of two. I hope I'm explaining this, and if you're always new to, you can always go back. And then unfold it, make a little cut, and just spread it out with your hands. Just like that. And I'm just gonna do another one. This is also another alternative. Even though it doesn't make that straight of a line, you could also do this if it's just easier. And now I'm gonna show you just how to put it on. So try to center as best you can, and just sprinkle it all around, just like that. And we're just gonna do these off camera really quickly.
Placed on a baking tray, and now I'm going to open the oven and put it in the oven. We will pour the water in after we've placed the ramekins and the tray inside, because I don't want the water falling. So I'm going to just slightly go on the side and pour the hot water in. So now that we have the ramekins in and we have the tray and the water poured in, we're going to close this and leave it in the oven for about 45 to 50 minutes. Let me set the timer for 45 minutes and I'll check at that time. You will know if it's done if you touch it and you try to pull it away from the sides and it pulls away. That's when you know it's done. You should not ideally poke this with any knife or something, because it kind of destroys the pudding. But I mean, let's meet up after about 50 minutes. Move aside. So this is how you check if it's done. It shouldn't be jiggly, and this means it's been done. Now we're just going to leave it in here. Turn the oven light. We're going to cover this back. I'm going to take this out, and you should do it very, very carefully, because there is water in here.
And that water is boiling hot.
And you leave it in this boiling water for some time. Wait for it all to cool down. Wait for it all to cool down. You can see how it looks right now. Wait for it to cool down, and then after it's cooled down, what you need to do is you need to put saran wrap on top so that the tops don't dry, and then put it in the fridge for a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours, or until it's completely chilled. Once it's chilled, you can take these out, and I'll show you later when it's done how you can plate it and how you can serve it.
And we're back. We let this rest overnight for the maximum perfectness. So now we're just going to unwrap it. I got a little plate here. Start by taking a knife and just scraping it around the edges like so. You can already see that gooey caramel starting to come out the top. Then we're just going to flip our plate on, and there we go, folks. It's out. Now I have some powdered sugar over here. So I'm just gonna sprinkle a few dollops on top. And I always like garnishing it with some fresh fruit. It really adds something to it. So I'm gonna go in with my favorite fruits, which are blueberries and raspberries. I've already washed these. And also a dollop of whipped cream, because you know, we're fun here. And now we're gonna go get in one of our closest friends, Miss Harmon, to taste this out. So I got a spoon right here for you.
Thank you so much. It looks amazing. Do I go for it?
Of course.
Okay. Oh, wow. That is awesome, you guys. That is amazing.
So this dessert, although it's flan, we put very little sugar in it. Then we made about 11 of these flans and we put 3 teaspoons of sugar in it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is it?
And the sweetness comes from the caramel itself, which of course has sugar. But then we try to put a thin layer so that there's not too much sugar in it. And I mean, you can see the bubbles where it's risen. Yeah.
This is excellent, y'all. And I taste a little lemon.
It's orange. It's orange.
It is awesome. This is incredible. Thank you, guys.
Oh, that's wonderful that you like it. And thank you so much for coming to taste it.
Thank you for having me.